Anyway, shall we move on to the best show of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. SmackDown. No, AEW Dynamite. So we start off the show with a very beat up Inner Circle. They announced that they're going to be having a pep rally later in the night. The only thing that they need to do is find a way to offload all the Stadium Stampede Champions t-shirts that they got made, because obviously they lost that match. But yeah, I don't know, just a bit of a jokey segment, but I thought it was quite funny. And obviously this, they'd linked in quite well with Pro Wrestling Tees, and it actually turned it into a storyline where they were selling the t-shirts on 50% off and stuff like that.
I love that. I love that when it breaks into real life like that. Like, you can legitimately buy that shirt for $12 now.
Yeah, like literally, it is so funny, isn't it? And it's something which they obviously knew ahead of time that they were going to do. So it's quite like just again shows that kind of foresight to know what you're doing with the actual product. But yeah, so I thought it's a bit silly, but I thought it was just a funny way to kick it off. We then go and see the Elite. So Hangman decides he's going to go back to the hotel for a drink because, okay, that's what he does.
I mean, is he a cowboy or an alcoholic at this point?
I think he's definitely an alcoholic who wears a cowboy hat. But yeah, so interestingly though, Omega decides he actually wants to go with him. He's going to go and have a glass of milk that he's got chilled in the fridge. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a nice little story, really, because obviously Omega and Hangman had the differences throughout the start of this tag team run.
Thanks to the books for the last part.
Exactly. But I feel like it's nice now to see that they've formed some sort of little friendship together, and to the point where Omega actually wants to go and hang out with him in the hotel. So nice little story progression, I think.
Yeah, gonna go and hang out in a hotel together.
Well, yeah. We then see Matt Hardy. He comes out. Basically, the Bucks are like, "Well, can we have a different Matt Hardy for the match tonight?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Goes off, comes back again. And he's like full old school, like, "Oh, Matt Hardy." And they're like, no, we were thinking even older. And then he goes back to like debut Matt Hardy, which is basically just a version of the Young Bucks, where he's in his tights with his little bandana on and stuff. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, they're proper proper buying into this gimmick of him being able to just change it at the drop of the hat, aren't they? But I don't mind it, to be fair. I think I much prefer this than just having this Damascus character forced down us.
I'd have been probably a lot more critical if we were just doing Broken Matt rebranded as Damascus over and over. Or they've been, they're clearly moving away. In a way, we still have the Broken Matt stuff, but they're moving away from going like full TNA with it, which I really appreciate, because I never got it. And I'm not saying don't do it because I don't get it, but it was probably done its best in TNA, so why go over it again? So it's nice to see that they are doing something new, in a way. Doing something new by doing everything old.
Yeah. Interesting little viewpoint on it. But no, yeah, I think it definitely stops it from being stale. Especially when, they brought back version 1 at Double or Nothing, and then now they're bringing back like old school.
You can't get better than bringing back version 1. That was cool.
Well, exactly. I just can't wait for Shannon Moore to rock up at some point.
Looking at Shannon Moore these days, man, that'll be fucking weird. I hope they do the pool with him. Goes back to a traditional Shannon Moore. That'd be strange.
That'd be funny as well. Yeah, so that then leads into the match between Hardy and the Bucks taking on Joey Janela and Private Party. Decent little match, to be fair, quite a bit of action. So Mark Quinn actually ends up injuring his knee in this. I think at the time I wasn't really sure whether it was kayfabe or not, but I don't think so, because it seems to be like a really smart setup for the end of the match. So Matt Hardy basically ends up being respectful and helping him to the back, and then that allows the Young Bucks to be left in the ring on their own. To then get kind of a sneak attack by Butcher and the Blade. And then in the distance, we hear a truck pull up, and it's the Revival, baby, now known as FTR.
But not officially known as FTR, because there's still a copyright issue on that. So that's just a name, but they're actually just Dash Wilder and the other guy.
Well, exactly. It's just sound like two porn stars, don't they? What's his name? Fucking something Hardwood or something, isn't it?
Is it Dax Harwood?
Maybe. But yeah, so yeah, I marked out a bit for this, to be fair. Like, I'm not a massive Revival fan or anything like that, but they are a decent tag team in the age where tag teams are hard to come by, and yeah, I don't know. I think why not? Like, why not go to AEW?
Yeah.
I think it opens.
I was made up to see them. I think it'll be a really good move for them. You know what? I actually even feel a little bit sorry for them, and not because of this. This was a really good debut. It was a really good. I believe they got some history with the Bucks, so it was a good sort of juxtaposition for them to go for Butcher and Blade and they still want to go for the Bucks, but they weren't there to just put them out. But after this Dynamite, I was reading, and there seems to be a bit of thing of like almost putting AEW down, going, oh yeah, they're just going to buy all WWE talent. And it was that little comment that pissed me off, because it's like ex-WWE talent. These guys weren't big in WWE. You can use that all you want. You can go, oh yeah, they're just going to buy up ex-WWE talent because they've been in WWE. But to me, these guys were bigger outside of WWE. So why not buy them? You wouldn't buy them on the back of their run in WWE because they were shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember whether they had a decent run in NXT. I think that might have been where they were like introduced as this like shit hot tag team, but then they were just really
to be fair, they had the good catchphrase, and the no flips, just kicks or something like that. Whenever fists, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could argue their best work was outside of WWE and independence anyway. So whilst they had a good run in NXT, I think it's unfair to just simply refer to them as ex-WWE talent, and that's almost the reason AEW wanted to buy them. Maybe they wanted to buy them because they're actually talented guys. You know what I mean?
Surely not. Why would any company want to do that?
I hate this thing where there's this belief now that AEW are just going to pull a TNA and they're going to buy up every bit of ex-WWE talent for the notoriety, when in actual fact, I honestly think they're looking for talented wrestlers. And if talented wrestlers available, whether they were WWE or not, you would buy them. It just makes sense. Do you think WWE would blink an eye about buying an AEW talent if they became available?
No, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was quite a nice little debut.
Quite a surprise as well, because a lot of if you're expecting any WWE talent, it would not be now, because a lot of them are still within the 90-day contract. Obviously, the Revival weren't, so that was a nice little surprise, I think, as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it was interesting as well, because they got in the ring and they made a beeline for the Young Bucks, but then they actually turned around, took out Butcher and the Blade. I think it's more of like a respect thing. I do think it's going to be them and the Young Bucks going forward, but
yeah,
I thought it was quite good. We then saw Mox, so he made his way down from the rafters, as he always does, but this time to join on commentary. And then that was kind of leading up to Brian Cage versus Lee Johnson, which is a squash match, as you would expect. I've gone on record as saying I'm quite a big fan of a squash when it makes sense, and I think this makes absolute sense.
Totally agree.
This Cage guy is definitely a talent. He's huge, obviously, in terms of like his physique. He's not the tallest of guys, but he's built like a brick shit house, and he can do some really good moves as well. And I think this whole kind of Taz thing is interesting. That being said, after the match, Taz did cut a promo, and it was a bit fumbly from him. So I think, considering he's like on commentary and stuff quite a bit, he did fluff his lines quite a bit in there. But basically, the whole point of it was he was announcing that it is actually going to be Fighter Fest, which I think you mentioned on the show last week. So it'll be Fighter Fest, where
he said that's when the championship match was going to be given. So I think this is them just solidifying that, is it?
Yeah. So basically, just saying that's going to be the case. But yeah, so apparently, Taz wants Moxley to show more grit again, with the fucking grit word, but whatever.
Grit.
So we then went on to the Britt Baker promo, which obviously I mentioned earlier, but this is straight out of Jericho's old playbook. So I thought it was funny because she's in a wheelchair that's got role model on the back, but spelled like ROLL, but she's rolling around in the wheelchair, which I thought was nice. But yeah, she kind of called out the three women that were responsible for her injury. Statlander basically saying that she's an alien and it's bullshit. Calls out Aubrey Edwards because she's always tends to be around when she gets injured. It was this whole kind of conspiracy thing, which Jericho did so well in WCW, and I thought it was quite nice. That he's been able to entrust Britt with that gimmick as well, and she seems to be pulling it off. So hopefully we get to see more from her. But she basically announced that she'll be back competing at All Out. So obviously she's got a little bit of a lengthy time on the sidelines there, but
to be honest, I was expecting longer. I was quite surprised that it was going to be All Out. So obviously she's not going to be able to do anything for Fighter Fest, but I thought I don't know, when you just like, legit injury on the knee, could be out for a while, but good to see it. It'd be good to see her back. I don't know if they're going to keep doing sort of promos backstage and the like, and keep it relevant that way, but be a good chance to hone all that skill, wouldn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, definitely. So after that segment, we got the Inner Circle being interviewed backstage. And then Orange Cassidy just happens to walk by, and that basically pisses Jericho off something rotten. So we basically assume Cassidy's going to get his ass handed to him at some point. We then get Hikaru Shida versus a woman by the name of Christy Janes. A bit weird this. So, Shida's just managed to defeat Nyla Rose, and yet she seems to struggle, I think, for quite large portions of this match against this relative unknown. So I don't know. I thought it would have been squashier than it was. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially because it's like you say, it's a relative unknown. If it had been somebody who was there on the card but maybe needed a bit of a bit of a propel, you'd make a bit of sense from that. But yeah, I've never heard of it, so don't know what purpose it served.
Yeah, strange. So then we get to see what exactly happened in that hotel room with Hangman Omega. However, there was no audio for me in the one I watched. So I don't know whether you managed to get one.
No,
with
I
audio.
got the same, mate. I don't know if that was deliberate or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me felt like it was a bit of a botch, to be fair, but I don't know whether it was just intentional, because I think it seemed like it was meant to take place during the commercial break. So maybe it was intentional, because you wouldn't be able to hear it anyway, which is why it seemed so weird, because the commercial break never seemed to arrive. But yeah, strange.
Yeah.
I wish there was audio, basically, to see what happened.
I assume that's just something that happened for us Brits. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Unless you want to admit now, Carl, to watching an American stream. Just something you want to admit, Carl?
How would one even do that?
I don't even know, mates. I mean, what is the internet?
Yeah, these weird interwebs. So then we got a Cody promo. So goes on to talk about how Tom Brady is his favorite quarterback, not because he's from New England or anything like that. In fact, he's probably not welcome back in Connecticut. So a little bit of a WWE swipe again. But basically says that Tony Khan wants the best wrestlers, and he wasn't the first selected or the second or the third. But all that matters is that he's TNT champ, and if we think that his story is going to be one of nepotism and entitlement, it's not. He didn't get Dusty's amazing genes. It was actually Dustin. He's more like his mum, and his mum has grit. Fucking grit, right? So basically, don't get me wrong, I love a Cody Rhodes promo, right? And he's one of the best in the biz to do it. But this may as well just be in the fucking Liv Morgan promo. Like, literally fucking grit, my mom, grit. Like, what the fuck?
Is he living his best life?
Apparently so. But yeah,
is he just a girl who's trying to figure himself out?
Sometimes we don't know what's right for us when we're this age. Sometimes we get god awful neck tattoos, but it's something we have to live with.
Or lasers. There's always lasers.
There's always lasers. So I don't know. Bit weird one. This, I'm not saying it was bad, because it was good and it was full of emotion and stuff like that. But I just give me a bit of a chuckle that reminded me a little bit of the Liv Morgan promo. But
I think that's probably the only problem. Like you say, it's nice, it's emotional, but it seemed like a lot to say for a very simple message. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, it's a simple message that he's putting out there, isn't it? He's the champ, and he's gonna be a fighting champ. There you go. I've just said it in 2 lines.
Exactly. That was like the big announcement he was getting to, was that he's going to start defending it every week, apparently. So obviously it's effectively just a TV title. So interesting.
Awesome.
So then we get Sabian and Havoc, because they're both British. So obviously
they're definitely a team now.
Versus SCU. Match was okay. Again, Scorpio Sky was the main standout. I was starting to worry, actually, the fact that I haven't seen Christopher Daniels in a match for a while, so I was worried that it might be something wrong with him, but we did actually get to see him later on in the night. But yeah, these guys are obviously just being booked as the tag team.
Which is mad, because Scorpio, I know that they're pushing him, he's the younger talent, but he wasn't originally the tag team. Do you know what I mean? It was Christopher Daniels and who's the third guy, Carl?
Kazarian.
Thank you, Frankie Kazarian. So it's interesting to see that it seems to have gone more Kazarian Sky.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good tag name.
It is, actually. It sounds like a fucking rock band. From Kazarian Sky. But yeah, so fair dues, I guess. The British dudes take the win, and very clear that they want the titles, so fair dues.
Yeah.
We then get a MJF promo. So he calls himself the breakout star. He didn't have to come from another place for that title. He's undefeated, and he's never had a title opportunity. Maybe someone in the office doesn't like him too much, obviously playing on the whole Cody thing. So he's going to enter the Battle Royal tonight. then I thought this was interesting. They kind of teased an MJF Wardlow breakup, but you don't know if it's a bit too soon. It basically says Wardlow's going to be in the Battle Royal too, and then when it's them in the final two, then Wardlow knows what to do, which Wardlow ends up taking a bit of exception to. But then MJF basically screams in his face, but then goes, I'm just ribbing you," and then Wardlow just looks a bit pissed. So
yeah, it's an unusual tease, and like you say, I don't know if it is a bit too soon. But that being said, Wardlow's been looking impressive on his own for a little bit now, and so.
yeah, it's one of them. Like I don't feel like either of them need each other, but I just feel like it'd be a bit out of nowhere because MJF's obviously been recuperating from his really bad injuries all this time. So
Of course, yeah, and now his friends just turning on him. Not good.
yeah. So next we get the Battle Royal to determine who will be the number one contender for the TNT title match. So on the way to the ring, Orange Cassidy gets taken out by Proud and Powerful. So Jericho does get his comeuppance here against OC. But yeah, I don't know. We get to see quite a bit of action in this. Some good spots. I thought Marco Stunt looked pretty good throughout. He was quite heavily involved. Ended up eliminating Christopher Daniels, who I mentioned I was worried that we weren't seeing him, but he was there.
There he is. Yep.
And I mentioned this one a while ago, basically saying I'd love to see Luchasaurus and Wardlow face off. And
I knew you'd be loving this.
Little bit of a preview of that in this, which obviously I was majorly bought into. But yeah, MJF then goes on to eliminate Billy Gunn and Luchasaurus, and tells Billy Gunn to suck it with a crotch shot.
That was good, to be fair.
Then Orange Cassidy finally recovers and enters the match. MJF goes to kind of try and hit him, but with the diamond ring, but he ends up hitting Wardlow by mistake. So then MJF gets eliminated, and then Wardlow does swiftly afterwards as well. So we end up being down to Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy. And yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I was quite happy with either of these guys, but I think I'm happier that Jungle Boy got the win. I think he's another guy who's going to be a breakout star, and I'm actually really excited to see Cody and Jungle Boy.
No, I think to be honest, I actually would prefer that match. I think OC, he can always put on a decent match, but I'm not sure how well a Cody OC match would have gone. I much prefer the idea of Jungle Boy Cody, I must admit.
Yeah, same. So I'm definitely interested to see that. I think it's probably going to take place next week, which would be good. Then the kind of main event of the evening is the Inner Circle pep rally. So everyone makes their entrances, all looking a bit somber, introduced by the head cheerleader, Vicky Guerrero. So it's nice to see that he's looking after her. Yeah, so like 5 sexy phoenixes, they're going to rise again. Sammy hands out some participation trophies. I think they say something like best dad jokes or something. So he makes a quarantine joke around he couldn't actually get the ones he wanted. Santana hands out some gifts, gives Sammy some Vicks Vapor Rub, which I lost it when he started like rubbing it on his jeans. Like it's just what the fuck. But yeah, basically because of all his injuries, apparently the word in the hood is that Vicks Vapor Rub solves everything. And then Jericho gives Sammy a scooter called the Hit Me Up Mobile, which I thought was very funny. Jake Hager reads a poem, which I don't want to just throwing it out there. Did we inspire this? We obviously left the poem.
I think that was fully inspired by that poem.
Just saying, I think Jericho read it and went, "This is gold." Don't want to read out these guys one though. Wouldn't it be funny if Jake wrote a promo and then it was like, boom, that's it.
Yeah. So you've heard it here first. We fully inspired a promo.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we do. But yeah, so he basically then goes on about it, saying the only thing that would actually really make him happy is if he had Tyson's head on a platter, which I was a bit like, well, okay, but why? And then it's like, obviously, Tyson screwed him years ago, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, okay. And then Tyson shows up with quite an interesting posse of people. So we had Triple C with him, Henry Cejudo, who's the double-weight champ in UFC, who's just retired. Vitor Belfort and Sugar Rashad Evans, again, 2 former UFC guys, and then some other guys who looked absolutely fucking stoned or pissed or something. But yeah, I just thought what a random little entourage he was keeping. But
it certainly was. I mean, admittedly, I needed to be educated by yourself for that because I didn't recognise the other guys, I'll be honest. But
okay.
Thankfully, I've got my UFC guy over here provide some intel.
Yeah. But it's one of them. If you're big into UFC, like these guys are like really big names, as opposed to like the general public. They're just like, well, just a bunch of nobodies. But like Cejudo, especially, he's literally only just retired, and he retired on top with being the champ in 2 divisions. So that one was massive.
Do you think we're going to see more than just potential Tyson match? Then do you think these guys are going to get some time in the ring?
No, honestly no idea where it's even going, but I think it's quite the coup for AEW to be able to not just get Tyson, but get like the likes of Cejudo as well. But yeah, I don't know. There was I did like this. It reminded me a little bit of the Attitude Era, so I was definitely all for it. But did feel a little bit clumsy. I think Tyson's obviously just fucking mental, and he couldn't rip his shirt off properly, and
I forgot about that part. That was
he
funny.
was like he was trying to flex and stuff, and I don't know, he just came across a bit awkward. But obviously the bit where Jericho pushed him and there was the scuffle and stuff like that, then obviously that was really good. So yeah, for me, I thought it was such a really enjoyable episode of Dynamite, just from beginning to end. So for me, solid 4 out of 5. I think for me.
I'd have to agree with you on that. A really, really good show. I was gonna say match then. Sorry, really good show. And I was relieved, to be honest. I had massive reservations about the inclusion of Tyson. As you well know, I didn't want them sort of pulling this sort of stunts and relying on this kind of stuff. But I think it's been executed really well. Bar a few clunky moments, I actually don't mind the idea of him and Jericho having a match. I don't think it's going to harm the company at all. I think Tyson being included has done exactly what it needed to do for eyes on AEW. So I've come around on the idea, and yeah, genuinely really good week. So I'll probably go on a 4 as well.